Smarter than your average bear. Funnier than a moose in a dorm room. Able to teach classes in one recording. It's Mr. Cruz. And here today we're going to learn about the Peloponnesian Wars. So, remember we've talked about the Delian League and how in 454 BC Athens had taken control of this league, pretty much making it the Athenians Empire. Um, and people were starting to worry, what's this Athenian Empire going to do? What is this? What's its intentions? Is it going to try to take all of Greece so that Athens controls all of Greece? Is it what it really intended itself to begin with, to prevent Persian comeback, also to prevent, to free any Greeks under Persian rule? So questions start happening, and Sparta takes charge of these questions. Sparta joined forces with other city-states that were worried about Athens. A lot of people surrounding Athens never knew if they were going to turn their eye to them and take them over. And Sparta and Athens didn't really get along anyway. Uh, the Athenians believed in knowledge, and a lot of things like that, and Spartans just believed in, we're tough and we're going to kick your butt. Uh, and so the two never saw eye to eye very well. Um, and if you haven't watched that wife swap one of the Sparta and Athens on Horrible Histories, that was a great one to kind of demonstrate how totally on eye to eye they see. Um, and there were several clashes amongst the two different factions. And pretty much Sparta came out to win most of those. And Sparta saw these clashes that they had amongst Sparta and Athens, or the Sparta allies and the Athenian allies, uh, as the Athenians becoming aggressive. As hey, they're trying to push out their territory and they're going to try to force their dominance on all of Greece, and we're not cool with that. So 404 BC war breaks out. And this is called the Peloponnesian War, because Peloponnesians is where Sparta is located. Um, Both Athens and Sparta thought they both could win. You had your Athenian soldiers and you had your Spartans, and they were going to collide. Um, so Sparta marched on Athens, and they were going to put an end to this quickly. However, Athens moved all its citizens inside of its walls, because Athens had been preparing for something like this to happen. Um, and they had actually built um, a wall along a channel of land that would give them access to the sea. Even though Athens wasn't directly on the sea, they had built a huge, huge wall that gave them access to the sea. Um, and so the Athenians' navy brought supplies in and out of Athens. So they were able to hold up inside of Athens indefinitely. Excuse me. Um, because they were able to bring supplies in and out. And Sparta, which were mainly heavy duty soldiers, had no fleet. They didn't have a fleet, nothing to challenge the Athenians' fleet. And so you can see some ancient Greek ships here, Tremors. This continued the whole first year, okay, without any change. In the second year, and we've mentioned this when we were talking about the Age of Pericles, a plague breaks out in Athens. And because they were all living so close quarters, because think you brought all these people, that are normally living outside of the city into an already packed city, and they're living together for a couple of years. Think of sewage problems, uh, waste problems. Think of vermin. Because those are what tend to help spread plagues. Fleas on rats and all this lead to disease getting spread throughout this heavy concentrated population. And this plague winds up killing 1/3, so one in every three. So, like we had these three mice here, this one would die, well, if out of these three. Uh, and one of the people who died because of this plague was Pericles there in 429 BC. Um, Sparta decides to strike a deal with the Persians. They say, hey, we can't continue uh, just standing outside the wall, standing around. We need to find a way to uh, end this. And so what they do is they make a deal with Persia, and they offer Persia the Greek territories here, or not to stand in their way of conquering the Greek territories here in Asia Minor. This area right here is known as Asia Minor. In return, the Persians would give them enough gold so that they could build a very large fleet. Okay, and so and remember this is where we are over here in Athens, and Sparta over here. Um, and so they make this deal. Sparta starts building a navy. They build a very large navy uh, with the money given to them by the Persians. And they use that to destroy the Athenian navy. Athens loses several land battles because they come out, and now that their navy's been cut off, they don't have supplies inside the city, and now they have to start fighting on land in order to try to get supplies, get a route in which they can get some things coming in and out of the city. Well, when they get out there, the Sparta just whoops their tail. And in 404 BC, Athens surrenders to Sparta. Um, Sparta tore down the Athenian wall so that it could never be hold such a siege again, and then they divided up the Athenian Empire uh, so that it wouldn't be a threat to anyone. Um, and then the Greeks become really stupid here because after defeating Athens, Sparta thought, okay, well, we wanted to prevent somebody from trying to conquer all of Greece, so, well, we're going to kind of control all of Greece now because we know what's best. And the Spartans' way of life was best for the Spartans, okay? They had their own culture, their own way of doing things. Other groups, like the Athenians and the Delphians, all of them had their own way of life. Well, they didn't really particularly like doing the Spartan way of life. So, uh, within about 30 years of Spartan ruling, another war breaks out in which everybody rebels against Sparta. And then all of this fighting back and forth weakens Greece. Greece was a very strong and powerful nation. Even though it was divided into these city-states, they had some very capable city-states who were capable of, fighting off outsiders, especially when they came together, as they proved time and time against the Persians during the Greco-Persian Wars. But with all this infighting, they weakened themselves. And we'll make sure to find out what happens next in the next video. So until then, deuces!